Once again there guys, Brian here at 32R, looking at episode 202 of my weekly Q&A show, The People's Questions. Going into the second episode of the new year, we got a much shorter episode than usual, which is cool for me because the shorter these videos are, the easier they are to edit and upload. So starting off real simple with the first few questions coming from a regular of mine going by the name of Philip the Darkness Mart, and I want to apologize, there are some planes practicing dogfighting here because I do live near Nellis Air Force Base. And the first question is, who do I think would win in a fight between Sweet Tooth and the Joker? Well, Sweet Tooth does have a pretty sweet ice cream truck. And I think he has a much more dangerous collection of weapons. But Joker's a little bit unpredictable. But I'd have to say I think Sweet Tooth would have a good amount of time messing with the Joker. I mean, the Joker, is crazy and is not afraid. But I don't think Sweet Tooth would care about that. I think he would just want to kill the Joker and enjoy doing it. Especially if Joker, fired off and hit his ice cream, which that would really piss off Sweet Tooth. So I'm pretty sure Sweet Tooth would take care of that pretty easily. The next question is, what do I think is the story of Zero Dawn? I have absolutely no idea, but when it does come out, I'm certainly going to want to find out. And the last question is, do I think Cloud will appear in a new Final Fantasy game? Well, I already know they're kind of working on a fighting Dissidia game for the consoles. I've already seen plenty of gameplay for it. So yeah, I mean, as long as Final Fantasy VII is popular, then it's pretty much guaranteed we're going to be seeing some of those characters, especially Cloud, in future Final Fantasy installments. Especially if they start doing crossovers like they've been doing before. The next question comes from Draven G, and you want to know, with Infinity War being the end game for everything in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which I don't think it is. I don't know when this whole thing is going to end, but I don't know, I'm just getting a little tired of it now. What do you think will happen in Phase 4? I have absolutely no idea, and I don't care. We're all going to see it regardless of what it is. I don't think they're going to do Thanos justice. It's not going to be the Infinity War that we all know, just as they're not going to do Civil War the way we know it. They just don't have the parts, they don't have the pieces, they don't have the characters. So whatever they do in Phase 4 is irrelevant. These are nothing but cash cows, and that's all the studio cares about these days. The next question comes from Dr. Hino419, and I'm sorry I missed your question last time, but she wants to know, what do I think of the Renault being Ultima Cia theory? Well, I think it works in the context of Final Fantasy VIII. I mean, there's a couple of inconsistencies which kind of hinder that theory. But I'm not sure if that theory will ever be confirmed, since, as far as we know, there's been no interest in wanting to continue the Final Fantasy VIII storyline. I mean, I think it's pretty self-contained, so I think it's a solid theory. It's just there's absolutely no way we'll ever be able to confirm if the theory stands on its own or is just complete, preposterous. So I think it's an okay theory, but there's just not enough evidence to really make it concrete. The next set of questions comes from Santiago Scarpino, and you want to know, how many versions of the Trickster has Mark Hamill played? I think he's played only 2. I mean, he was the Trickster in the old Flash show, and now he's the Trickster in the new Flash show, so I believe only 2. Next question is, have I watched The Walking Dead? No. I don't like The Walking Dead. I've seen 5 minutes of one episode. I didn't like it. And next question is, who are my top 3 James Bond actors? Oh, that's easy. The first one has to be Pierce Brosnan. He was the first James Bond I ever saw, and I do believe in the theory that your favorite James Bond will be the first one that you see, so he's number 1. Number 2 is Daniel Craig. Really enjoyed Casino Royale and Skyfall. Not so much Spectre and Quantum of Solace. And number 3 would probably have to be Sean Connery. I mean, he's the first. He's classic, so you have to put him on your list. And the last question of the episode comes from Fading Sister 406, and you want to know, what are my top 5 cartridge games? Okay, so we're going back old school, down to 8-bit, 16-bit, and maybe a little bit after that. Okay, number 1, Super Mario 64, hands down, best Nintendo 64 game I ever played. Followed by Star Wars Rogue Squadron, that's a good number 2. I think that's one of the best flight simulator games I've ever played. After that, we go into the 16-bit era with Final Fantasy 3/6. I think that's like my favorite Super NDS game. I mean, it's just a little bit confusing because if you live in the States, it's known as 3, but in Japan, it's known as 6. Next would be Mortal Kombat 2. I still think, on Sega. I mean, when they brought it to Nintendo, they kind of dumbed it down a little bit, but that was definitely one of my all-time favorite Mortal Kombat games, and it still is to this day. And the last one would have to be Donkey Kong Adventures. I mean, next to Mario, I think Donkey Kong is like maybe a good second or third in terms of iconic Nintendo characters, and you can't go wrong with Donkey Kong Adventure, especially once you go later down in the franchise. And with that, those are all the questions you guys sent in for this episode. I'd like to thank all of you guys for making this episode possible. If you have any more questions that you would like me to answer in next week's episode, be sure to type them in the comments down below, but make sure you get them into me before next Wednesday before I start filming this. And if you like this video, feel free to like and subscribe to keep track of me in my future videos. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I'll see you next time.